The movie starts with 5 people arriving at the airport to receive 2 of their friends. There's the innocent yet fun-loving Jiggy, the whiner of the group, Rotlu, the cracker in a small casing, Bombs, the buddy girl Shaleen, and the recent addition to the group, Jiggy's potential girlfriend Mala. Mala is absolutely enraged as Jiggy has brought her, an air hostess, back to the airport on her day off to receive his friends. And her sour mood makes everyone walk on eggshells. She claims that she hates airports, romance, and everything that's cliché. But little does she know, by the end of this story, Mala will be a die-hard romantic. And so, to keep Mala entertained while their friend's flight is delayed by hours, the other 4 decide to tell her a story about love. Though she protests at first, Mala eventually gives in, and the story begins. It starts with Jai's dream. Dressed like Zorro, his face covered in a mask, a man is riding a horse through the desert when suddenly a phone goes off. He sees a desk and unsheathes his sword. He takes a swing at the phone, and Jai wakes up to a phone call. He suddenly starts rushing out of the house, despite his mother's protests, because the one who called was Aditi, and she needs him. Then we see Aditi at a hospital, crying because someone dear is critically ill. Jai rushes to comfort her as the doctor gives her the bad news. Cut to the funeral day and Aditi's friends gather around, dressed in white, to mourn the passing of Radha. Seeing Aditi sad, Jai gives a speech, saying a few words about the life that Radha lived. His only hope is that may Radha be happy wherever she is, and may she finally learn to catch mice, because Radha is a cat. In the present, Mala is flabbergasted. Everyone agrees that they found it ridiculous as well. But not Jai. For Jai, all that ever mattered was to see Aditi happy. And so, when nothing else works, Jai and the gang break into song and dance to cheer up Aditi. In the end, Jai finally manages to make Aditi smile after giving her a new kitten. But seeing Jai and Aditi hugging makes Bombs and Rotlu sad. Turns out they both have a crush on Jai and Aditi, but unfortunately for them, Jai and Aditi could never see anyone past each other. One morning, Jai hands over the phone to his mother. Savitri answers a call from her fellow activist colleague, who informs her about the corrupt police officer, who once again beat up a 14-year-old boy and locked him up in jail. At breakfast, Jai tells her that he dreamt about the man on the horse once again, and thinks that it must be his father. This makes Savitri really upset, and she berates Jai for even thinking of his late father as a violent man. She tells him yet again about how difficult it was for her when her husband, the late Amar Singh Rathore, a royal member of the Rathore family of Ranjore, passed away when he went to stop a fight in the neighboring village. He was a docile man and an advocate of peace. And this is why she is so opposed to fighting and violence. And this is why Jai Singh Rathore, aka Rats, was the most non-violent man in the world. Whereas Aditi, or Meow, was the complete opposite. A fight breaks out in the cafeteria one day between Aditi and Vivek, a classmate of hers. She's fighting him because Vivek dared to call Jai a coward. When Jai breaks up the fight and finds out why Aditi went all Hulk on the man, he asks her to calm down, because he couldn't be less bothered by it. His callous attitude annoys Aditi, and she challenges Vivek that Jai could beat him. Though Jai disagrees, Aditi starts chanting his name, hyping up the crowd. But better known for his brain, not brawn, Jai manages to effortlessly coerce an enraged Vivek into ceasing their fight. Later, the gang celebrates Jai's effortless win and laughs at how he left Vivek flummoxed. But Aditi isn't as happy as the rest of them. All she wanted was for Jai to fight the guy just once, for her sake. Jai reminds her he doesn't believe in violence, and will never lift a hand to anyone. When Aditi asks if he'd fight someone to save her honor, he still refuses. In the present, Mala feels sad for Jai, because he's only following his dad's principles. But then she finds out the twist in the story of Savitri. Turns out Savitri lied to Jai about his father's true nature. Instead of a peace-loving man, Amar Singh Rathore was an angry, violent, and the most feared man in all of Rajasthan. Savitri communicates with her late husband's portrait, berating him for haunting Jai's dreams and pulling him toward his roots. Funnily, the portrait responds, blaming Savitri for making his son into a cowardly fellow, when he is supposed to be manly like a Rathore from Rajhore. Amar Singh promises Savitri that one day, his son will fulfill all 3 demands of truly becoming a Rathore of Ranjore. But before an excited Mala can find out what the 3 demands are, the story jumps back to the last day of college. Peaky and Pumpkin, aka Aditi's super cool parents, host a big graduation bash for Aditi and all her friends. There's dancing, there's music, and loads of fun. Both Rotlu and Bombs try their luck with Aditi and Jai, asking them to dance, but Aditi playfully refuses him, and Jai just wants Aditi to get on the dance floor. Another song and dance sequence later, poor Rotlu dejectedly walks away from the group when he sees how engrossed in each other Aditi and Jai are. That's when he overhears a conversation between Aditi's parents, as they presumptuously discuss Jai and Aditi's future marriage plans. Dejected, Rotlu ends up at the bar, drinking cola and drowning his sorrows, when Bombs shows up. She asks him why he's upset, and he tells her how he wishes he had someone who had eyes just for him. Bombs relates to his misery, because she aches for the same affection. The two share a kiss, and the rest of the gang is left speechless when they see this. Later, the gang gathers, talking about the songs they'd sing for their significant other when they finally find that person. And when it's finally Jai's turn, he sings an old song named John Tuya John Na. That'll be the song to which he'll serenade the love of his life. The others join along to his singing, and that's when Aditi's younger brother, Amit, throws a bucket full of water at Jai. While Jai remains cool, this enrages Aditi and she warns her brother to behave. But Amit goes on to call Jai ugly, poor, and tone-deaf, and wonders if any girl could ever like him. And that does it. Aditi chases her brother around, screaming curses at him, as the rest of the gang watches the Tom and Jerry show in fascination. While dropping Jai back home, Aditi rants about how she and her parents are frustrated with her brother because he does nothing all day except stay locked in his room. Jai tells her that he knows for a fact that Amit is a painter, and he is the sharpest amongst them all. This baffles her, because how can Jai still say nice things about her brother when all Amit does is insult him? She finally drops him off, making plans to pick him up for college the next day, when Jai reminds her that they're not students any longer. He brings an emotional Aditi home, and she meets his mother. The two catch up and talk about Aditi's future plans to study filmmaking. That's when Aditi reminds Jai about his meeting with her dad the next morning. When Jai arrives at her house the next day, Aditi's parents sit Jai down. When they ask him if he's ready to take up this responsibility, Jai confidently says yes. After all, he's going to have to do something for money, status, and power. He even suggests he would learn a lot if he stayed with them and learned their way of life. This baffles the old couple, and when Aditi enters the scene, they tell her that Jai is only agreeing to this for money. Aditi doesn't find that odd at all. What's odd is when her mother tells them that Jai just agreed to live with his in-laws after the wedding. This shocks both Aditi and Jai, and they freak out. Jai had come over to this meeting thinking that PC and Pumpkin were offering him a job, and neither of the two have any clue as to why they think Jai and Aditi are a couple. The confusion creates a ruckus, but it ends up with a laughter riot. When all is said and done, the four of them laugh at the confusion. Aditi's parents tell them that the confusion was created because, for the past 5 years, Jai and Aditi have been joined at the hip. Aditi's parents ask the two that, even if they were to find someone in the future, would their significant other be okay with the kind of friendship that Aditi and Jai have? That evening, while hanging out with their friends, Aditi and Jai recite this crazy incident, and even their friends are of the same opinion. This stresses Aditi as she thinks she'll never find anyone in life this way, and neither will Jai. But Jai's optimism saves the day, and he claims that he'll find a guy for her. This gives Jiggy an idea, and he suggests they both should try to find each other a partner, since they already know everything about each other. And so, to put their friendship to perfect use, Aditi and Jai head to the bar. At the entrance, they spot a weird duo arriving at the club on horses. Inside the club, Aditi and Jai fool around with each other, not being able to find a single person they can match the other with. In the meantime, their friends don't think Aditi and Jai can ever find anyone better suited. But, as if it was fated, a commotion in the bar takes everyone's attention to a girl, stranded and surrounded by the two horse riders. The men tease the woman, forcing her to dance with them. When Jai lays eyes on this damsel in distress, he's completely taken by her. It's undeniably love at first sight for him. Quick on his feet, Jai gets his friends to go out and bring the car around. He then marches forward into the danger and grabs the helpless girl's hand. He puts on a bold act, yelling at her for taking advantage of him and giving him an STD. It takes a minute, but the girl catches on and plays along. She pretends to be a crazy woman, out to give STDs to all men, and this is enough to scare the two thugs off her. They're glad when Jai forcefully takes her away from them. Laughing and giggling, Jai and the girl escape the club and get in the car, where the girl meets the rest of the gang. She introduces herself as Magna, and it's evident to everyone that there's a romantic vibe going on between her and Jai. When they arrive at Aditi's place, she invites everyone in for coffee, but Magna is already late. She decides to leave, and Jai decides to walk her back home. On their way back, Magna finds out that Jai is actually a prince of Ranchor. She then teaches him a new game that she plays, called What's This?, in which she points at random objects on the street, and instead of calling them what they are, she tries to come up with a creative story for that object. Finding this quirk cute, Jai indulges her. Jai drops Magna home and hesitates to ask for her number. He eventually lets it go that night, when Magna promises that they'll meet again. She tells him she will be at the movies tomorrow for the new James Bond movie, and lets him know the time and place. Jai takes that as an invitation and a win. Aditi is early waiting for Jai's nightly call. Jai tells her that Magna is the perfect girl for him. He tells her about his plans to watch a movie with Magna the next day, and there she is, at the movie theater with the rest of the gang. Jai is surprised and a little bothered to see his friends there. The gang bought tickets for Jai and Magna too, but Jai cleverly switches them to separate seats. When Aditi sees that he won't be sitting next to his friends, it bothers her, but she hides her feelings. While everyone's enjoying the movie, Aditi can't help but steal glances at Jai and Magna, who are seated a few seats ahead. Days go by, and Magna's presence in the gang starts to become permanent. While everyone's happy for Jai, no one notices how hard Aditi's struggling to be happy for him as well. One night while dropping Magna home, Aditi feels left out, as Jai now has inside jokes with someone other than her. At Magna's house, Jai insists on dropping her at the doorstep and asks Aditi to carry on by herself, but Aditi argues that she will drop him home. When Magna sees this, she asks Jai to go, after giving him a goodnight kiss. On the way back, Jai is disappointed in Aditi since he wanted to spend some alone time with Magna. This angers Aditi and she stops the car, asking him to go back to his girlfriend. She used to be the one to always drop him home, and ever since Jai got himself a girlfriend, it seems like he's forgotten all about her. To defuse the situation, Jai teases her, and the two eventually make up. When Jai gets home, his mom sees how happy he looks, and he finally admits to having a girlfriend. His mother is beyond happy for him, and is in the middle of getting all the deets when the phone rings, and her happy mood deep dives in the dumpster. Turns out it is the troublesome inspector again. Savitri arrives at the police office with Jai and berates the inspector for being a shameless and lawless goon. Instead of legally taking a young boy to court, he took matters into his own hands and beat up the young man for his alleged burglary. The inspector does not seem one bit serious, even though Savitri is enraged. He shamelessly makes jokes and keeps testing her patience. Seeing how the inspector is making fun of his mother, Jai can't take it anymore. He steps in, glaring at the man, and the inspector goes quiet under his intense angry stare. Savitri quickly pulls Jai away from the scene and takes him home. On the way back, she berates him for showing his anger in front of a police officer. That night, Jai dreams of the man on the horse once again, and this time, he's chasing the stinky mouth inspector. On the other hand, Savitri has a screaming match with the portrait of her late husband. The man supports his son's behavior, but Savitri does not want Jai to end up like him. She recalls how, on his last day, Amar went to fight with the head of the neighboring village and never returned. Amar proudly claims that he lost his life fighting like a true man. But what are the 3 requirements to be a true Rathor from Ranchor? 1. The man mounts a horse. 2. The man beats someone to a pulp. 3. The man goes to prison. Then and only then can a man become a true Rathor from Ranchor. Cut to a few weeks later, we see the gang going on a picnic. While the rest of them have a blast singing and dancing, it's obvious that Aditi isn't happy, try as she might. Jai and Magna, who seem inseparable at this point, have moved forward in their relationship, and Magna has arranged for Jai to finally meet her family. Shaleen notices the longing on Aditi's face. Back home, she asks Aditi if she misses Jai. Though she does, Aditi does not make a big deal out of it. But she feels like she has never seen this side of Jai before, where he's engrossed in someone so much that he forgets about the rest of the world. Shaleen tells her that Jai's always been this way, and the only difference is that someone used to be Aditi, and now it's not. Later that night, Shaleen and the gang trick Aditi into a surprise birthday party. Aditi is super happy about the surprise, but her smile falls flat when she sees that Jai is missing. Meanwhile, Jai is at Magna's house for dinner with her parents. But it seems to him that Magna's parents are not as happy as she portrayed they were. In fact, the couple is in complete chaos. Her father is a drunkard who speaks ill of his wife in front of Jai, making her seem like a wretched lady who is flirting with her daughter's boyfriend, when that is not the case, and her mother has lost all hope to even pretend to keep up appearances. But Magna's denial baffles him. She pretends to oversee the flaws in her parents' marriage, and just makes jokes each time her parents insult each other. The horrible night comes to an end, and Jai finally arrives at Aditi's place. He apologizes to her for missing her party, and though Aditi is clearly upset with him, she pretends to be chill. Jai tries to cheer her up by saying that he will find her a cool guy as well, but Aditi gets annoyed at him. She tells him she does not need any favors from him, because she can find a guy for herself. In fact, she is meeting her dad's friend's son soon. Jai is a little taken aback, but acts happy for Aditi's sake. The next day, Aditi meets Sushant. He is exactly the kind of guy she's always wanted. Good-looking, charming, has a good job, and a perfect work-life balance. Well-traveled, well-cultured. He has got it all. In his room, Aditi sees a picture of him with a black belt, and jokes about it being a fake. Sushant assures her that so long as he is next to her, no one can mess with her. Aditi recalls a similar conversation she had with Jai once, and realizes that Sushant is the perfect guy. Though he does seem like somewhat of an ex-playboy, judging by the laundry list of ex-girlfriends. One day, when Jai gets home, his mother tells him that he has a missed call from Aditi. When he calls her back, she gives him good news. She is engaged to Sushant. Jai is completely stunned for a while. As he recovers from the shocking news, he congratulates Aditi and wishes her all the happiness. But Jai is not as okay with this news as he pretends to be. Aditi starts spending more and more time with Sushant. They go out on romantic dates, and she tells him more about her life and her friends, but leaves out the details of her friendship with Jai. One day, Sushant takes Aditi to a club to meet his friends, but when Aditi sees the 2 horses outside the club, she gets nervous, remembering the 2 hooligans who created ruckus in the club the last time. But Sushant assures her that she will be safe with him. Aditi meets his friends and finds that Sushant's ex-girlfriend is also at the party. Richa tries to get close to Sushant, but he berates her for drinking more than she can handle. Their closeness makes Aditi feel a little awkward, but she handles it well. Later, Sushant spots Richa dancing and getting too close to 2 hooligans on the dance floor, and can't hold himself back. He marches onto the floor and tries to take Richa away, but the 2 men intervene. That night, Aditi sees a different side of Sushant as he fights off the men and creates a scene. When Sushant drops Aditi home, her parents are happy to see the couple. But then suddenly, their excitement turns to nervousness as Amit walks into the room. They never know what Amit can say to offend someone. Amit makes polite small talk with Sushant, and even invites him to his room to show him all of his artwork. This leaves the rest of his family completely gobsmacked, especially Aditi. When Sushant leaves Amit's room, he is completely in awe of Amit's artwork and talent. He praises the man in front of his family, and soon leaves for home. Later, Amit does something out of character once again and invites Aditi into his room. Baffled, Aditi follows him inside, only to be more amazed by the art inside his room. Every inch of the place screams talented genius. While she admires his room, Amit tells Aditi that she would be a fool if she marries Sushant, because he is not a nice guy. He is egotistical, selfish, borderline aggressive, and just completely wrong for her. He tells him that she should be with Jai, because he is obviously in love with her. Aditi can't believe that's true, but Amit insists that he knows it well. The next day, it's Jiggy's surprise birthday party. When Jai finds out that Aditi might be there with Sushant, he decides to show up at the party. Meanwhile, Aditi and Sushant are on their own date. Sushant tries asking Aditi more details about her personal life, wanting to know if she ever had someone special in her life. Getting tired of his persistence, Aditi tells him that she had a special friend named Jai, and they were so close that everyone else thought they were having an affair. This piques Sushant's interest, but before he can ask more questions, they are interrupted by Richa. This time though, Richa seems to have sobered her act up. Sushant, on the other hand, is a train wreck. He gets a little pushy with Richa for a dance, even when she says no, and this creates a problem between Sushant and Richa's boyfriend. Sushant acts like he has more of a right to Richa, because he had been with her first, and this eventually leads to a brawl between the men. Seeing this, Aditi gets scared by his behavior. Later, while driving back home, Sushant apologizes, but Aditi is enraged. She gets a call from Jiggy asking her to come to his party, but Aditi rudely tells him no. But after some convincing from Sushant, they eventually end up attending the party. At the party, Jai remains aloof and quiet, and it worries his friends. When Aditi shows up with Sushant, she introduces him to all her friends, including Jai. Though there is some tension between Jai and Aditi, the two hide it behind their smiles. Later, Sushant puts on a romantic song and dedicates it to Aditi. All the couples start to slow dance, and even as Jai and Aditi are dancing with their partners, they are only looking at each other. Everything changes for Jai the moment he sees Sushant kissing Aditi. He walks out of the party, drenched in the rain, not caring about anything that Magna is saying to him. When she tries to cheer him up by playing, "What's this?" Jai lashes out at her for being so juvenile and ignorant, and living in her little deluded fantasy world, being so blind to the disaster that her parents' marriage is. This triggers Magna's wounds, and she has a breakdown. Later, she confides in Jai about her parents' terrible marriage. She was a young girl when her dad had an affair with another woman, and her mother left her. She only returned for Magna's sake, but this did no good to their family, since her parents would always keep fighting with each other. Magna started to blame herself for the state of her family. One day, she decided to stop seeing the bad part, to be blind to all the things that are wrong with her family, and just be in her happy bubble. Even though she knows one day she will need to open her eyes to the truth, she is not ready for that day just yet. That night, Jai dreams of the man on the horse again, and this time, he is out for Sushant's blood. He's woken up by his mother when Magna comes to meet him. With a serious face, Magna tells him that she thinks Jai is in love with Aditi, and should be with her instead. The look on Jai's face is of complete shock when he hears this, and Magna bursts out in laughter. She was just kidding with him, but that seems to make Jai realize something else. He tells her that she's right, he does love Aditi. Magna realizes that she always knew this was coming, and leaves with a goodbye. That night, Magna goes drinking with her friends, and runs into Aditi and Sushant at a restaurant. Aditi has just told Sushant about her plans to study abroad in the States, and that she wants to check out the filmmaking course at NYU. When Sushant finds out that the program is 3 years long, he is not exactly happy about it, and gets even more upset when Aditi tells him that she is planning to finish the course first before getting married to him. Before he can protest, Magna shows up. When Aditi sees that Jai is not with her, Magna tells her that they broke up, but Aditi is confused as to why. Magna drunkenly laughs and says that it is the oldest story in the world. Jai is in love with someone else. When Aditi asks who that girl is, Magna just gives her a goodbye kiss and leaves. But the anger on Sushant's face is scary. In the parking lot, Sushant screams and shouts, demanding that Aditi tell him who Jai is in love with, and why Magna had to break up with him. Aditi can't understand why they are fighting because of Jai and Magna's breakup, but Sushant persistently asks her to tell him what she truly feels for Jai. Fed up with the arguments, Aditi finally agrees that there was a time when she thought she was in love with Jai, but nothing happened between them. Sushant calmly asks her if she is sure about her feelings for Jai now, and Aditi nods, accepting that she loves Jai too. This makes Sushant angry, and he smacks her across the face before leaving her alone in the parking lot, heartbroken and shattered. The next day, Jai finds Aditi at their hangout spot, where she is sitting all by herself. He has come to talk to her about her decision to leave India that night without even telling him. Aditi tells him she is just going for a vacation, and wants to spend some time by herself, but Jai knows about her plans to enroll at NYU. He then finds out about her breakup with Sushant, but Aditi doesn't fill him in on the details. Aditi laughs at herself for being such a train wreck. She found the wrong girl for Jai and the wrong guy for herself. And then Jai sees a bruise on her cheek. He immediately turns protective, but Aditi, getting annoyed by his intrusive questions, tells him that she had a fight with Amit. But Jai does not buy her story. Angry beyond comprehension, Jai ends up at Sushant's house. Sushant's dad lets him in the hopes that being Aditi's friend, Jai will talk some sense into Sushant. When Jai sees Sushant, he asks only one thing: did he raise a hand to Aditi? Sushant, being the arrogant man he is, picks a fight with Jai and hits him. Jai tells him that he made a big mistake hitting Aditi and loses his calm, pummeling Sushant to the ground. Back at home, Amar Singh's face in the painting is full of proud delight, and this confuses Savitri. But it all makes sense when the doorbell rings, and she sees the look on Jai's face. Jai simply tells her that he is sorry for breaking his promise to her, but he had to, because Sushant hurt Aditi. Later, Jai gets ready to meet Aditi. He promises his mother that he will never get into a fight ever again, and she needs to let him go now. He has to stop Aditi from leaving, because he loves her. He's on his way out when his mother reminds him of the transport strike after midnight. Jai opens the door and is greeted by a cocky-faced Inspector Wagner, who is there to arrest him. It is the inspector's lucky day today, and with a lot of pleasure, he drags Jai out of his house, leaving his mother in a frantic panic. And Jai ends up in lockup, fulfilling 2 of the 3 requirements of being a true Rathore from Ranchor. At the police station, Jai pleads with the inspector to let him go, because he needs to stop the love of his life from leaving. But Inspector Wagner does not budge. In the meantime, Jai's mother is trying to figure out ways to save him, because she knows the inspector will take out all his frustration on her child. Aditi, on the other hand, can't reach Jai on the phone. It's almost time for her to leave for the airport. At the police station, something weird happens. The 2 hooligans from the club arrive at the station, happy to have finally landed there. The constable tells the inspector that these men beat up 2 men badly. One of them is admitted to the hospital, and another one is scared to even report them. The corrupt inspector lets the man go with a warning. But the 2 men, who call themselves Balu and Bagheera, insist that they want to be locked up behind bars. When nothing works, they hit an on-duty police officer. The men are happy to have finally arrived at their destination. When Jai sees that these are the same men he fooled that day to save Magna, he is scared for his life. But when the guys recognize Jai, they praise him for his intelligent move. Jai then asks them why they are so happy to be behind bars, and Balu and Bagheera recite an age-old tradition of their village. A man truly achieves manhood when he fulfills the 3 requirements. In the present, Mala is shocked to realize that these 2 men are from Ranchor as well. Back in the past, Jai finds out the reason why the 2 men had to leave Rajasthan and come to Mumbai. Their father is the head of parliament of that state, so no matter what Balu and Bagheera did, it was impossible for them to get jailed. So they came to Mumbai to fulfill the 3 wishes. When Jai tells them about his dad, who was also from Ranchor, the 2 men realize that they already know all about him. Amar Singh Rathore and his family are a legend in Ranchor. They suddenly tackle a very confused Jai to the floor, and excitedly tell him that they are Balu and Bagheera from his childhood. Jai remembers that they used to be his cousins when he was a kid, and the 3 reunite. A little later, they start filling Jai in on his father's brave adventures, and Jai finds out that his father was, in fact, a very violent person, and not the saint that his mother painted him to be. He breaks out in a burst of hysterical laughter. When he calms down, he tells his brothers that he needs to get out of jail as soon as possible, because he has to stop Aditi from leaving. Balu and Bagheera effortlessly help Jai get out of jail by controlling the inspector, choosing to stay the night themselves. Jai thanks his brothers for helping him out, and is about to leave when he realizes that it's after 12, and that means a transport strike. His brothers lend him their horse, but Jai tells them he does not know how to ride one. They assure him that being born as a Rathore man of Ranchor, horse riding is in his blood. The minute that Jai mounts the horse, everything makes sense to him. He realizes that the man he used to dream about is not his father, but himself. And so, Jai leaves for the airport. On her way to the police station, a frantic Savitri sees her son riding the horse, and finally gives up on Jai not turning out like his father. On the other hand, Amar Singh's spirit rejoices, seeing that his son finally fulfilled all 3 requirements of being a man. Aditi says goodbye to her friends and family and enters the airport. Jai arrives just in time and rushes inside, avoiding all security stops. He runs like a madman, chasing after Aditi and breaking all airport rules. The airport security chases him, but Jai keeps running and leaps through all the obstacles, only to be tackled in the end. But Aditi gets a call from her friends telling her what Jai did to Sushant, and she gets super excited. Then she hears his voice from behind her, and sees that security has tackled Jai to the ground. But Jai does not give up. The same song he told his friends he'll serenade the love of his life. And Aditi could not be happier. She breaks through the barrier keeping her from him and runs to hug him on the ground. With hundreds of witnesses, Aditi and Jai finally declare their love to each other, and Aditi decides to stay back in India. They are escorted out by airport security and are let off with a warning. The gang rejoices when they see them, and it's a happily ever after for Rats and Meow. Back to the present, Aditi and Jai return home after their honeymoon, and everyone excitedly greets them. But it's Mala who is the most excited to see them. She jumps up and hugs both Aditi and Jai, confusing them. She claims that it feels as though she has known them both for a lifetime, and proudly introduces herself as Jiggy's girlfriend. Everyone cheers them on and the gang leaves for home.